Hi, everyone. This is Carlin Crow with the Iowa DD Council with what might be our last This Week at the Capitol update for this legislative session, because as you may know, this is the last scheduled week of debate for the legislative session this year. And so scheduled is the key word because they might go longer. There's a lot yet to be done, and budget bills have not been passed. So all indications are it will go longer, but who knows? This has been a very strange session, and maybe they'll get it wrapped up this week and go home on Friday, which is their last payday, so to speak. So we'll see. Yet something to look out for this week. I'm sure there'll be a lot of talk about this being the last scheduled week of the session. So I have 3 items that I'll update you on, and then I'm going to turn it over to Amy, who's going to update you on budgets. First of all, I want to update you on the public assistance bill, or the SNAP bill, as we've been talking about pretty much this whole session. That has now passed the House and the Senate. It passed as Senate File 494. And you've probably heard that, and that it's on its way to the governor. The governor has not mentioned anything about this bill yet, or whether she will sign it, but we have the DD Council has sent a letter asking her to veto it. There's been rallies at the Capitol by members of the food assistance programs, hunger eradication programs, who have asked her to veto. And we have asked her because we're concerned about people with disabilities who may be on SNAP and Medicaid. It's going to have an effect on Medicaid, which they are estimating it will cut about 8,000 people off the Medicaid program, which concerns us because of people with disabilities who may need those services. So if you are so inclined to contact the governor's office and ask her to veto this, and follow in our footsteps, there's some language on our Take Action Center that might help you know what to say when you leave her a message. Moving on, we have been tracking a new bill which would actually change how caucuses, or how you participate in the caucus. And this is now House File 716. It started as a House study bill, which we have reported on before, but is now House File 716. And this bill would require that you declare your political party 70 days ahead of a caucus date, and that you must participate in person. There was some talk that the Democratic Party was going to allow people to vote by mail or participate in other ways rather than having to come physically to a caucus. But now this bill would not make that possible. So it's creating less accessibility, which is why we are in opposition to it. And it has only passed out of House committee. So it has a little ways to go yet, but it's getting a lot of media attention. So that's one we're keeping an eye on because of accessibility issues. Then the last one I'll update you on today is, we've been working on supporting a House file that was going to create scholarships for comprehensive transition programs at 2 Iowa colleges. It did not make it out of the Senate, and so it did not make the funnel, but we have asked the Education Appropriations Subcommittee chairs if they would include it in the education budget so that the appropriation would be there and the rules would have to be worked on after the money is there, which would be nice to have some seed money so this scholarship program could get started. So that is still alive. We've asked for the amount that was in the initial bill, which is $200,000, which, as even the committee chairs acknowledge that that's not going to break their budget, but it still has a little ways to go to see if it can be worked in this year. And we have talked about these transition programs that are growing across the country. and also in Iowa. So there's potential for this to be make some significant impact on students with intellectual disabilities, learning disabilities, who want to go through a program like this that some of them are 4 years in length, and require resources to be able to attend. So that still has some potential, and that is a good segue into Amy talking more about the budget and where things might be headed that way. So take it away, Amy, and I'll.
Thanks, Carlin, for that great review of the top policy issues that are still being discussed, or we hope are being discussed at the Capitol. As you mentioned, this is the final paid week of session, and legislators sometimes blow right past that, even though they have to start coming to Des Moines and pay for their own hotels and food, and they have no more staff. So it's a pretty good motivator to get done with the end of session. And there is no better sign that the session is getting close to being done as having budget targets agreed to. And that's what I wanted to talk about today. Is on Friday, the House and the Senate leaders and the governor had all agreed to a 3.7% increase in the budget, which is about $8.52 billion. So that's a lot of money, 8.52 billion. It's a lot of money, but as I reminded you guys in the past, I was allowed to spend 99% of the revenues, and then we put aside a 1% for what they call a rainy day fund. So we could have spent $9.65 billion. So if you see the math in the corner, you can see that we're not spending about $1.1 billion. Instead, that money is going to go into a pot that can be used for taxpayer tax cuts, taxpayer relief, property tax relief, anything that cuts taxes to Iowans. So we're really only spending 89%, which is a bit concerning when you look at all of the varied needs in the Medicaid budget that we've been talking about, with waiting lists, providers just not simply able to pay their direct staff and therefore can't really recruit people. So there's a lot of turnover in staff, which is really important to Iowans with disabilities, because those are the people they depend upon to be able to get up in the morning, to get to work, to provide the services they need to be able to live successfully in the community. So I wanted to show you a little bit more about the budget. We do know that $8.52 billion is divided into other budgets. So it's divided into these 8 areas of the budget. And you can see how those all work out. I wanted to compare it to the current year, which goes until June 30th. So that's fiscal year 2023. So that's the year we're in this year. It's the money that was budgeted in the last legislative session. So you can see that's about $8.2 billion. You can see where the governor came in with her recommendations, and now you can see where we're at with this current agreement. So you can see a huge amount of the money that is budgeted is spent in the Health and Human Services budget, which is, of course, Medicaid. And so we're a little bit above what the governor had requested, but a little below what the House had wanted, about $11 billion below. So right now what's happening is the budget chairs for each of these individual budgets, so the House and Senate budget chairs, are going to be meeting to talk about where they want to put their dollars. And we know right now that there is money in the Medicaid budget for nursing homes, somewhere between $15 and $25 million. And there is money, another $1 million in there for nursing homes to be able to take some of the older sex offenders that there's no place, they're no longer in prison, but there's no place to really put them. So giving them $1 million extra to provide for the safety of others that are in that nursing home. And then also we know that there is $10 million in the House budget that was for mental health increases, so rates for mental health provided services, as well as substance use disorder treatment. And that is currently not in the Senate target. So While we haven't agreed to target, now the Senate has their priorities and the House has their priorities, and they kind of gotta duke it out and find out where they're gonna be. So we should start to see these budgets being formed in the next week here. If we want to get done by the end of next week, we'll really have to make some progress on it this week. So that's what I have to report. I hope you guys can join us on Friday, April 28th, for our capital chat, where I will go over these budgets and give you any updates if we have a few that have started to come out and we see the details on them. So hope to see you Friday.